Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Insert applause here. This video is basically just going to be showing you how I achieve this glam look right here. This is like my go-to glam if I'm going out, shopping, night out. Yeah, if you want to learn how to achieve this look, then keep on watching. Today for foundation, I am going to be mixing two. These are two of my favourites. The first one is the Dior Forever Matte Finish. That's in the shade 3WO. And the second one is the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Foundation. And this is the shade 290. I've mixed them together on my little palette down here. So I just bounce my beauty blender. I like it to be damp but not too damp, and I always make sure that the bum of the beauty blender has got some foundation in before I dip into the product properly and blend it out on the face. So now the foundation's done, I'm going to go in with a little bit of concealer. The one I'm using today is the L'Oreal Infallible. And now I'm just taking my beauty blender again to blend out the concealer. I like to leave the concealer underneath my eyes to blend out last because I find that it thickens on the under eye area a little bit, it adds a little bit of extra coverage. So now that that concealer is all blended out, I'm going to be going in and setting the under eye with my Fenty Beauty powder in the shade Butter. So I actually don't leave my powder to bake. This has just got a little bit of powder in it. And I'm literally just going to help to blend that out. So now that that powder on the under eye area has been blended out, I'm just going to take a big powder brush and just really lightly dust powder over the rest of the face to help set the rest of the foundation. So after I've powdered, I then do my contour. I'm going to really douse my brush in that, and I'm literally going to contour my jaw by taking this and running it back and forth. What I'm going to do is take the brush, this hasn't got any extra product on, so it's just what was on before, and flick upwards. Taking the excess of what was already on the brush, I'm going to contour my nose lightly. Start at the bottom, like this, to make your nose appear shorter. And then the sides to make it appear thinner. Now I'm taking that same contour shade again, this time just on a big fluffy fan brush, and really lightly, not with a lot of pressure, just hitting underneath the cheekbone. Kind of add a little bit of a sculpt. So now that we've contoured, we're going to go ahead and bronze to help blend it all out and add a little bit of colour back to the face. And I'm just literally going to get that on a big fluffy powder brush and do, again, really like circular motions. This time a little bit faster, going all over where we've contoured and also a little bit higher up, all the way onto the temple. Go. So that is the bronzer complete. I also took a little bit on the sides of my forehead just here. So now for blush, we're going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio. I'm just going to take that and pop it basically just over where we put the bronzer. So just slightly higher and overlapping what we just put down. I like to press my bronzer in rather than swirl. I just find that the pigment is more prominent then, and you get a little bit more of like a blurred effect upon application. Again, same with the bronzer, I like to take it up to my temples up to around where kind of like my eyeball is, so just about here. And then I will do the same with my highlighter, just again higher up. Today I'm going to be using an oldie but a goodie, one that I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with. It is MAC Soft and Gentle, because I literally have that much left in the bottom. So I'm trying to get rid of it. I absolutely love it, but I just want to buy a new one now. So I'm taking this on a KKW Beauty. This is the contour and highlight brush, but the highlight side is so perfect. And again, just above where we put the blush in light circular motions. I'm holding it right at the tip, basically where the contour end is, because it gives you much more of like a soft focus, like diffused effect. So now that the cheekbones are highlighted, I also like to go ahead and highlight this area just above the brow here. And then I also always highlight my chin. Again, it just adds to that all over kind of glow effect. And then just taking that same highlighter on a little Morphe Jeffree Star brush. This is like a pencil brush. It's the JS13. And I'm highlighting my inner corners and also my nose. So just the tip of the nose like that. And then a little bit down the bridge too. So I'm just going to take my setting spray. This is a concoction I made myself. I always like to make my own setting sprays because I just find that then they're much more to my particular taste. So this one has a tiny little bit of glycerin in it, rose water, and then just topped up with a little bit of normal water as well. But it gives you a really, really nice glowy finish. So as you can see, we're a little bit more up close and personal now. Today we're going to be using the Revolution, it's a bit shiny, soap brow kit. I love doing soap brows. I think it's really, really complimentary for kind of any eyebrows. So I've just popped a few spritzes of my setting spray in with that soap brow solution. It will give it a bit more staying power than normal water will. It's quite watery in the minute, the soap is, so I just use this kind of time here just to actually make sure that the eyebrows are like fully coated with the soap before I actually start kind of pushing them up and shaping them. Now the product's kind of thickened up a little bit, it's kind of easier to get the hairs set in place. So I tend to use these little like flicking motions with pressure. Do whatever shape you want. I like mine to look quite fluffed up. Okay, they are about done now. So now I've got them the kind of shape that I want them. You can kind of see I have a few areas where it's a little bit more sparse, like this part of the tail of my brow here, and then just a tiny bit here towards the middle of my eyebrows. So I'm actually just going to take the Revolution Pro eyebrow powder. This is the shade dark brown. It's a split pan here, so you get a lighter shade and a darker shade. I only really tend to use the darker one. Just tapping off the excess and flicking it through the end of my eyebrows where it's that little bit more sparse. I just like to use a powder because I find it's not so kind of harsh. Pencils tend to kind of coagulate a little bit with the soap, so they don't work the best in my opinion. It's fine if you use them first, but I just prefer this method. You can also use a pomade if you want a little bit more of like a structured soap brow. But I kind of like mine to look a little bit more fluffy like this. I just went ahead and really quickly primed my eyes using the Instant Light Eye Perfecting Base from Clarins. And the eyeshadow palette I'm going to be using today is the Cocoa Blend by Zoeva. This is really, really nice if you're a beginner. They're super easy to blend. There's not too many colours, so you don't kind of feel overwhelmed. And there's like literally no fallout with any of the shades. It's amazing. So the first shade I'm going to be using is this one here, Freshly Toasted. So it's like a terracotta, like warm brown. And I'm just going to be running that from the outer corner of my eyelid to the middle, just in the crease. So now I've got that first shade kind of laid down, I'm going to be using the shade Substitute for Love, this one just here. It's kind of like a light toffee colour on like a bigger, fluffier brush. And just enough the excess, and using it to blend that out and also blend into the inner portion of the crease as well. So now that that second shade is all blended in, I'm going to be using the same shade again, just lightly with a little bit of this colour here, Bitter Start, which is like a creamy white shade. And I'm just going to use that above where I've blended that second shade to really help give it more of like a seamless blend. I always like to take eyeshadow pretty much all the way up to my eyebrow because I do have quite a little bit of lid space. So when you've got something that looks somewhat like this, I'm going to go in with this little angled eyeshadow brush here, with that first shade that we used again called Freshly Toasted. And you can see I've kind of brought the eyeshadow out slightly to kind of wing out my eye shape. I'm just going to take that shade and run it on the lower lash line. Not all the way in, but just kind of like this middle portion here. Now I've just dusted off what was left on that brush, and I'm taking the light brown shade again, Substitute for Love, tapping off the excess and running that where we left that last colour and into the inner corner. And finally, I'm just using that same blending brush I used earlier, and I'm just kind of dragging the eyeshadow a little bit further down on my under eye to help it look more smoky. So you've still got kind of a little bit of definition, like you can see the shape is actually more winged out. It's still got that smokiness to it that doesn't make it look too defined. So I'm going to leave it as it is. And I'm also going to pop a little bit of mascara on and some lashes off camera, and then I will be back. Okay, so now for lips, I'm going to be using the Clarins lip liner pencil in the shade number 1 Nude Fair. I keep the pressure with the pencil quite light. I just find that it's easier for me to fill my lips that way, instead of doing like long slow motions. I just do a little quick like back and forth. So that's the top lip, and then just joining it up with top lip. The lipstick I'm using is also from Clarins. This is in the shade Nude Brick. This is like a really nice deep berry kind of nude. I'm going to take my finger and pat it in. Just to lighten that up slightly, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick. This is in the shade, is it Naked? Yeah, Naked. Popping it on the centre of the lips. And now the final step, I'm just going to top it off with a gloss. This is the Lime Crime Wet Cherry Gloss in the shade Naked Cherry. These smell amazing. And I'm just gonna put on. So this is the final look. I went ahead and just took those clips out of my hair so you can kind of get a bit more of a picture for what the makeup actually looks like when everything's ready. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned something. I really enjoyed filming it actually, and I hope you managed to learn something from it, and if not, I just hope you had fun watching it. So I will see you next time. Bye.